They say cats will always find the warmest place to sleep in a house, and you won't find anywhere warmer than this.
Hello, I'm Andrew
And I'm Maja. We are the two Randos,
in San Miguel.
which is on the Azores.
And it's raining, but I'm sure the sun does come out at some point.
We're in Furnas today, so it's our first day and we're going about to see what it's like. It's a beautiful town, I would say, with thermal spas and gardens and little restaurants, so we love it. This is where we're staying for the next 10 days.
Sadly, the thermal spas are closed at the moment for renovation, but we're hoping that they'll be open in the next week while we're
It
here.
says in February.
Yeah, well, we're almost in February, so who knows.
We arrived in San Miguel at the start of February 2025, having previously been on Madeira. We used SATA Azores Airlines, which flies between different islands that belong to Portugal, but also takes passengers to the United States and Canada. As the Azores are located about 1,500 kilometers from Portugal and about 1,900 kilometers from Canada, they are a convenient stop. Furnas is a small town that was established in 1522, about 100 years after the Portuguese decided to inhabit the Azores. Its population swells in July and August when a lot of tourists descend on it, but we decided to visit it in February. Furnas has oceanic climate with mild summers and mild wet winters. The temperature was between 12 and 20 degrees centigrade while we were there. It is located on one of the 3 active volcanoes on the island of San Miguel. Walking around Furnas, you can enjoy the stories told by blue and white azuleo tiles, which are typically Portuguese and started being used in the 14th century, just before the Azores were discovered. Churches used azuleo tiles to tell stories about saints, as buying a book was a luxury for many people in the past. This is one of 3 active volcanoes on San Miguel, and all the 9 islands of the Azores archipelago form one geopark, which is under UNESCO protection since 2015, so about 10 years ago. We saw a little documentary in an info center, and the archipelago formed about 800,000 years ago, and the archipelago is based where the 3 plateaus, Eurasian, North American and African, split. So all the islands formed gradually from volcanoes. Thus, each of them has a specific flora and fauna, and it's the beginning of our exploration
but I think there's a lot to learn and see about how active our Earth is still. Behind me is a lake which is near the place of Furnace where we're staying on San Miguel in the Azores. San Miguel is the biggest island, this is where we landed, and it's slightly cooler than Madeira, a few centigrades, but it has more rain. So today we're on a walk near a lake which is formed in a cauldron of a volcano. So behind me you can still see thermal waters which in this area are between 15 and 97 centigrades. And if you see those little holes over there, that's where people cook a meal which is typical for this area, and we're hoping to try it later on.
Venturing to the other side of San Miguel to Ponta da Ferraria, we saw the only thermal pools in the world where the volcano heats a piece of sea, or to be more precise, of the Atlantic Ocean. Normally, people enjoy the mixture of thermal and seawater, but that day the ocean was not welcoming swimmers. The same day, but different altitude.
So one of the things about coming out of season is this. We have come to go on a hike around Lake Fogo, which is just down there. But I don't think we'll be seeing it today. So as long as you're happy to live with occasions where you just can't do something because of the weather in January and February, I think it's still fantastic to come to the Azores out of season because our alternative is to go to the thermal spa again.
As the ocean did not allow us to enjoy its thermal waters, we continued towards Ribeira Grande, one of the many volcanic thermal spas on San Miguel. It became our favorite spot in the week that followed, and we soon discovered that it was a gorgeous spot to walk around as well. The walks are marked and easy to follow. Nature is wild and stunning and is taking over the abandoned dam which we stumbled upon. Fortunately for the people of San Miguel, tourism is not the main and only industry. They have kept the tradition of growing tea, which was introduced in the 19th century.
I'm from a small town called Worksop in Nottinghamshire, just a few miles from Gainsborough, which is in Lincolnshire, and it was unexpected to see the Marshals of Gainsborough logo on machinery used for tea production, so far away from England. Researching the company a little, it's not hard to see how it ended up where it did. Founded in 1848, Marshalls made all types of industrial machinery which was exported all around the world. The business was sold in 1998 and the original factory is now used as retail space. All these machines now are part of history from a long forgotten era of British production.
One of the other industries is the production of dairy cheese, a real treat of flavors in one of the restaurants in Furnace. But back to the tea production.
Hello, this is Andrew, the Rando. We're in a tea plantation in the Azores. I'm not going to do a documentary about tea because I'm pretty sure that exists, or several books. Tea here sort of has been around for a few hundred years. It was sort of more mechanized in the 1880s and made into a business. They brought two people from China and who were experts in tea production and how to make it more like a business, and they've been doing that for quite a while. The tea itself is also a Chinese tea.
Hello, it's Maja here of Randos. I wanted to talk a little bit about how we choose our destinations and how we plan our trips. We're still in the Azores near Furnace. We're visiting a tea plantation at the moment. And one of the benefits of designing our own trips and traveling independently, so to speak, not with travel agencies, is that we can choose off-season destinations. So the Azores is a fairly popular destination, but we're here in February when it's not so busy, which makes things, it has its pros and cons. So it makes things easy when it comes to driving, parking, visiting places, because they're not so busy, there are not too many people around, and it's much more pleasant to visit a place like this when there's practically very few people around, if any. The downsides of it maybe the weather, so we've had quite a lot of rain and fog, but I think it really, the experience of experiencing a location when you can see how the locals really live, what they enjoy when they don't have too many tourists, is worthwhile. Also, the cost of the trip is usually at least 10% less than in high season, if not more. But that's not the main driving factor. So when we decide on a trip, we look at destinations that neither Andrew nor I have visited before, and that has taken us to some really interesting places. So in the 5 years since we've been together, we have visited places like Iceland, Cyprus, we've been to Morocco, Madeira now, and the Azores. And all of these places I had not been before. The other factors in deciding when we travel are also the flight trips, because the way we design our trips is to look at different flights and then base the trip around our interests, so we can visit things that we're interested in, like pottery or knitting or hiking trails, thermal spas. So we base the trips around what we want to do and see on holiday.
Thank you for watching the first part of our exploration of San Miguel. Click like if you have enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the second part where we take you to more stunning locations like this.
And don't forget to subscribe.